Welcome to the Cleanrooms IIoT, which is the Industrial Internet of Things, and Remote O&M. This morning, we're segmenting the discussion into three segments. One is overview, another is specific examples in the semiconductor industry, and then more information on the suppliers. If there are questions as we move along, we would be happy to answer them. And this session is being recorded, and it will be available to the attendees. The cleanroom IIoT and remote O&M market will exceed a substantial amount in 2026. In fact, we're estimating a $2.1 billion market in 2026. The operators of cleanrooms in the pharmaceutical, semiconductor, and other industries requiring ultra-clean environments will invest $5.1 billion in new cleanrooms and another capital equipment, plus an additional $7.1 billion in consumables this year. So that's really over $12 billion that's being invested by the industry. And a significant amount of this is already in what we call the IIoT area, things like very automated supply of garments from third parties and so forth, as well as the remote monitoring of the space. So it's an $857 million market right now. And the IIoT portion is going to be growing rapidly to $2.1 billion by 2026. Just showing how that breaks out by region. The Americas section is a $1.1 billion market this year, but compare that to Asia, which is $3.3 billion. And then the consumables and service is over $4 billion in Asia. And the IIoT in Asia would be $554 million this year, so that's huge. And that would be growing over the next 10 years to almost 1.4 billion by 2026. So the market in Asia and the Americas will be significantly larger than in other regions. Part of the American market does come from the pharmaceutical industry. As we said, Asia will dominate. The IIoT and remote O&M revenues applied to the manufacturing processes will be much larger than they will just for the cleanrooms, but cleanrooms will also be an important segment. The challenge is to integrate the offerings of the cleanroom suppliers with the digital process management of the facilities. To put this in perspective, let's explore some cleanroom supplier examples and then determine how that fits into the broader program offered by a company which is involved with both. So this is a typical ballroom clean room, and you can see that they're graded floors and that there are filters and lights in the ceiling. And there is a vertical airflow from the ceiling through the floor at ideally 100 feet per minute. But as you can see here, there are people in this clean room that are going to be moving about, and as they move, they disturb the air. And recent studies show that this movement of people has more to do with the real sizing of the clean room and cleanliness than anything else. Now, so the ideal situation is to eliminate the people completely from the clean room. So here you have a mini environment type clean room where there is ultra clean air within the working space in those mini environments that you see along the left hand wall here and on the right hand wall. But then the overall room is also kept at clean room class 6 or 8, so 6, pardon me, here, so that you've got clean space outside your mini environments and much cleaner space inside your mini environments. And this is an interesting challenge from the standpoint of IIoT, because you have all these different environments that have to be controlled. So you up the complexity here. It's not just one fan and one set of filters and pressure at one or two places along the way. So how do companies experience the present market and the future market? And Berenson would be a good example because it has 11 clean rooms throughout Europe. It's also selling garments to a number of clean room users. So it's got its own clean rooms, and it's also selling all these consumables to other clean rooms. So it can be monitoring and controlling the environment in all its 11 clean rooms from one remote monitoring location, but it also can supply logistics solutions for the garments and consumables, repair parts for all of its own facilities and all of its customers' facilities, and schedule preventive maintenance, etc. So consumables that are used in a clean room are unique. So purchasing and inventorying is a challenge which is being addressed by third-party providers. And so there is already a substantial third-party service, or what we would consider to be IIoT, in this area. Connect to Cleanrooms is an example of a company that is going to be able to benefit from this as well. Their energy management system is designed to ensure that cleanroom operates at max optimum effectiveness while consuming the minimum amount of energy and extending filter life. So they control the airflow within the room to the level of contamination that's required, so that they can vary the flow and therefore minimize the energy consumption. So this closed loop control system does measure pressure, temperature, and a number of other parameters that need to be controlled. They already have what they call an echo control panel, but in the future, with the cloud-based IIoT systems, all the controls and software that Connect 2 has developed can be used without a major amount of alteration. So the open platform is the goal here. Connect 2 Cleanrooms also has the micro environments, and they're commonly used in semiconductor and pharmaceutical environments where products are only exposed to the environment at certain times during the manufacturing process. So the critical area may be a class 5 environment with unidirectional downward flow, whereas the service areas where personnel operate may only be a less cleanly class. We see the micro environments and mini environments being the wave of the future, and the big ballroom clean rooms will probably fall into disfavor. And again, getting the people out of the rooms is also another big goal here. One of the variables is the amount of airflow, which affects the energy. So instead of a large fan distributing air in a ballroom to a number of 1,000 CFM fan filter units, you pardon me, let's start that over again. Instead of one large fan distributing air in a ballroom clean room, you're going to have a number of 1,000 CFM fan filter units. And here's the Connect 2 example here. And surprisingly, these are a fairly cost-effective way to produce your air. And they've been perfected over the years to keep the costs down, but also they have the variable speed controllers. And so if you have a whole ceiling filled with these fans, all with variable speed controllers, you can control the local airflow much better than you could with the one big fan in the ballroom cleanroom design. The provision of air at different locations at different times offers a whole new dimension. And Connect Cleanrooms actually has the HEPA light. As you can see, this is a mobile canopy, which doesn't only encloses basically or provides air downward in the area that's needed. So it's economical and adaptable and maintains the quality of air at points where the product is exposed, negating the need for entire production line to be fully enclosed within a clean room. And one example of where this would be used would be injection molding. So this opens the door for further energy savings and further improvement in the environment. And if we step back and take the holistic approach that you would want to do with IIoT, the clean room really becomes only part of the total HVAC system. And so you've got the makeup air coming in, you've got any dust collectors, and most of your plants, whether it's pharmaceutical, semiconductor, or if it would be injection molding, you're going to have dust collectors as well. So there's air being injected out of the plant, there's air being recirculated, and then with the canopy, you can adjust air at certain locations. If you have doors that open on rare occasions, then a canopy in those areas might be appropriate as well. But the potential here is with a complete HVAC management system to get better working conditions within a plant, better quality of air within the clean rooms, and to minimize the energy consumption for the entire plant. And all of this could be done remotely. So there are a number of examples here. We'll go into a few of them now and then get into some more specific supplier examples. But Vaisala's instruments are used in the clean rooms to provide customizable reporting for certification and classifications and custom reports. But they do measure humidity, temperature, differential pressure, flow, particulate, and more. And they're both wired and wireless sensors that are available. And of course, this is the huge potential of IIoT down the line is much more cost-effective sensors on every valve and every pump, and measuring the filter on every pressure drop across every filter. So Terra is another example of a company that's got the latest generation of wireless cleanroom control systems, and it even turns off the lights and operates the air conditioning and the fan filter units in energy saving modes, and sets up automatic scheduling of control room operations, and obviously it adapts on the weekends and does provide remote internet monitoring and control. As we were talking about in our wastewater plants last week, in some of these smaller clean rooms, you might have a night watchman or something that was required, but with IIoT, you're going to be able to eliminate them. A number of the wastewater treatment plants have eliminated a third-party shift that was there just to make sure nothing dramatic happened, but actually when you're remotely monitoring it, you get all the same benefits and more. So Lighthouse has a software for environmental monitoring, and again, it's got particular counts, which is a whole science in itself, temperature and differential pressure, velocity, and door status. So, obviously that's where you get the influx of air and even the CO2 levels and oxygen levels within the plant. There are some major initiatives taking place with multinational groups. Here's Mahindra in India, and they're providing an IoT solution for clean rooms and leverages expertise in big data as well. So you've really got the data analytics along with all these sensors. So you can monitor your clean room But then in terms of making changes or adjustments or improving the energy consumption, the data analytics can provide answers that then require some further action. So you do have remote monitoring and control from anywhere, of course, at any time. And obviously with multi-locations like the Barrington Cleanrooms, you're actually talking one remote center to be operating 13 clean rooms. And then your alerts for deviations can be structured to give various levels and go to various different people. And our vision here is that in a large operation, you're actually going to have a remote center with your main cloud-based system, but all the suppliers of fans, of filters, of even your monitoring systems and your mini environments may also be monitoring the results and performance of their products in this system, and it can be delivered from the cloud. In other words, the main system can also be selectively delivering information to those suppliers whose input may be critical. And then when some problem occurs, let's say with a fan, and it can't be solved at your main remote center, there's already a message and information at the fan filter manufacturer's location. And if he has somebody 24/7 available as well, then you can turn to him and get an answer as to what to do about that fan. ENVIRCO would be another example of somebody who is in this business of the fan filter units and all the monitoring of them as well. There are some big players that are involved even in the components. So ABB Robotics has a new clean room robot, and we were looking at those Mini environments, but with the clean room robots, then you eliminate the people in the clean room. But the components are the least of their participation in the industry. They've actually separated into industrial automation as a separate division. So these are all entrepreneurial units within ABB. So the ABB is driving digitalization across industry sectors. And so it is building on the position of in process control of being one through software and to achieve that #1 position in pharmaceuticals, mining, shipping, and oil and gas. And it's focusing on these growing segments where a lot of the clean rooms are. And so the life science industry, for instance, is one. So it's actually collaborating with Wareham for ITT solutions for the life science industries. And so Wareham has a software operating in approximately 800 installations of the world's pharmaceutical and biotech companies. So these solutions really give you the data analytics and help pharmaceutical manufacturers increase efficiency, improve productivity, and meet the regulatory requirements. So the clean room input can be input into all the product-related data analytics that ABB and Wareham would be supplying. So in this area, they would be addressing quality management, weighing and dispersing, warehouse management, standard operating procedures, paperless manufacturing, and again, with the data analytics provided by Wareham. Now let's get into the semiconductor industry, because our contention here would be that the semiconductor industry is going to be the example for the other industries to follow. And the fact that there's so much of a capital investment and the semiconductor manufacturing process is so complex means that IIoT has even higher return on investment for them in the short term than it would for other industries. So you've got very precise processes to create layers of transistors with specific operating characteristics. The chemical and photolithographic steps are used to harden an exact representation onto a silicon wafer. Wafers are then cut into individual chips and electrical contact points are added. So you've got a whole range of very complex activities that are going on at these semiconductor plants. And in fact, there could be thousands of individual machines that are being used, and therefore a very complex number of decisions to make. So a leading edge fab may have over 1,000 tools with several dozen key sensors on each tool, and each wafer may see as many as 1,400 process steps. Huge streams of information are coming from fab tools, wafers, files, and facilities. So one pundit likens this to a sunken treasure. When you get all this information into a cloud-based system, you can do a lot of things that the human could not do to manipulate all these variables on his own. A lot of the semiconductor automation and equipment companies are moving ahead with the IIoT. AGS is certainly one of them. And they're looking to help their customers with providing integrated relationships and make maintenance decisions on a much more sophisticated basis. So they're a leader in this whole area here. So let's now look at some of the specific suppliers, and we'll take a few examples here. Here's Danaher that has a number of different divisions, of which Met1 is one. And the Met1 facility monitoring systems are scalable online particulate monitoring solutions, and they are based on open architecture communications that integrate easily with other systems such as the cloud-based systems we've been talking about. But they do have a full suite of remote and portable particulate counters that feature all the ISO compliance and data management software. And so they offer to manage and design, install the system, and they integrate with the existing legacy systems, and they also support that with on-site service. And this is one item that is going to build the revenues for the cleanroom suppliers in IIoT. The amount of outside service that can be supplied once you know from a remote location what's going on is considerably greater. So it's not just remotely monitoring it, it's then adding the on-site service with service agreement programs to provide proactive, pre-scheduled or emergency type repairs. So Met1 has the compliant services too, as well as the full suite of environmental sensors and system accessories. Now, Met1 is part of the Beckman Coulter Group, which in turn is owned by Danaher. And the IIoT commitment of Danaher is reflected in the next couple of slides here. So Danaher is at the highest levels, is very bullish on IIoT. It sees multiple opportunities in the recurring revenue sector. So this follow-on service that we've been talking about. So the consumables and services in diagnostic and life sciences and across Paul's operation. Now, Paul is a major filter supplier, although they don't supply the clean room air filters, they would supply the ultra-pure water filters. So the opportunity facing Danaher comes from embedding more software in its equipment, thereby spurring increased consumable sales and keeping customers engaged with Danaher's services. Moreover, analyzing data from customer usage of equipment can create valuable opportunities for the company to modify its customer offerings. And this is a tack that we have been preaching, which is the biggest opportunity, I think, from IIoT is going to be the understanding of the needs of the customers. So if you have a filter which has a short life, you're going to know more about that and why the life is short, and you're going to be able to research ways to design a better filter or to operate that filter in a way that's going to extend its life. And so you can then even guarantee filter life if you're monitoring the parameters that are affecting that life. And then your revenues go up substantially because you're taking some of the risk, but less of the risk if you know exactly what's going on, and you're going to extend that filter life in that manner. So you can see the potential for someone like Danaher, who looks to be adding this across the whole segment of its industries. And in particular, you can see with the Beckman Counter group and with Paul that you're looking at margins that are in the mid-teens, and they want to improve those margins, and they can certainly by this IIoT movement. Here's some other examples. Dickson Sensaphone remote monitoring systems are already being applied in computer rooms and equipment rooms and some clean rooms, but they do measure humidity, water, and these other aspects. And you know, that might be a lower cost solution for some of the players. SenseGrow is another company that has been involved with healthcare facilities and a delicate ecosystem where the patient recovery is managed despite the pathogens that get introduced into the system. So maintaining positive and negative air pressure in the facility, it's the same thing in any kind of a clean room, but this is what you need in the critical care wards and then the operating rooms. And by the way, hospitals really need clean room technology in a big way, and there have been a number of papers presented about reducing hospital-borne illnesses with better clean room technology, and just what we're talking about here. So clean rooms, to some extent, have a different set of contamination requirements because they're not looking at pathogens, except in the pharmaceutical industry. But the SenseGrow system can be designed for maintaining a level of cleanliness based on particulate count as well. And they are being used, as you can see, in the critical isolation wards, which would be really a variation of the clean rooms, as well as in other types of activities there. The clean room laboratories are, in many cases, for instance, in pharmaceuticals, they're often doing some preparation of custom drugs for patients in those laboratories. So you have a fairly robust need for clean room technology. And ThermoFisher has a wireless monitoring system for clean room laboratories. So again, this is something that can be integrated into the total system. So the wireless monitoring, alerting the cloud operator and then people at Thermo in the event of power or mechanical failure. It will provide alert systems, including real-time and visual alarms on each of the laboratory modules there. So not only are you looking at the room and the HVAC and so forth, you can actually be monitoring the laboratory equipment as well. And ThermoFisher does have this wireless monitoring system that can be integrated. TSI is another example of somebody that has very sophisticated particulate monitoring as well as other types of monitoring. But particle counting is its own science, and you have things like ones for submicron, which have nucleus condensate particle monitoring, where you have to grow the size of the particles before you can even measure them because they're so small. And all of that special technology is available from TSI, along with software with open architecture, flexibility to integrate with any manufacturer of environmental sensors. So the ability to comply with the FDA and other government agencies, the validation tools, the redundancy, and the simple system for maintenance and calibration. And it can be installed and serviced with local support from a worldwide network. And of course, this is another consideration, which is servicing all the of the IIoT systems. And we believe that for smaller companies, it's going to be collaboration with others. For larger companies, they're going to be able to capitalize on their international reach. So TSI does have a new wireless velocity and pressure measurement solution. So I think that this is another part of the progress in IIoT is you're getting better and better sensors for all the systems, as well as better data analytics. So the better the sensors are, the more meaningful the information for the data analytics, and the more extensive the data analytics, the more information there's going to be to improve the products. So this solution is being offered through license and probe management, extended service contracts, and advanced probe replacements, eliminating downtime. They do not compromise the high reliability and accuracy of overall performance. The other opportunity, which we think is already being capitalized on by companies like BWR, is on-site services and technology, which helps streamline procurement, optimize inventory levels, and eliminate management time on supplies so the operator can reduce costs and focus on science. So it's point of use inventory management with a lean supply chain management. So the laboratory and the clean room consumables are stocked in the right amounts at the right locations and can be provided as needed. And you know, these systems do take into account all the shipping, receiving, and mailroom support. And in the case of clean rooms, garment management services, so that you know, all the ones that have to be, for instance, laundered or barcoded, and you're able to trace them as they go out for processing and come back again. And so BWR can work with manage a third-party provider for this type of service. So this is the extent of the main presentation that we wanted to make here, but I just wanted to also lead you to if you go into our website here, first of all, you can click on the weekly IIoT webinars to see, you know, all the ones that are coming up. Then you can click here on the IIoT and remote O&M, and this leads you into a discussion of everything that you get with this service. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention to you too is if you go up under markets here, you look down under clean rooms, you get what this World Clean Room Markets report, and we're actually tracking the clean room activities in every country of the world. We also have databases, so there is a clean room projects database as well, and so we're actually looking at all the pharmaceutical and semiconductor projects on a monthly basis, sending out we're looking at them continuously, but then sending the information out monthly. So we do see this to be a whole continuum, that there's a whole new way to market. All these more sophisticated tools for determining strategy are available, and I think they're all going to enhance the IIoT world. In fact, our contention would be that IIoT is really only part of the answer, that you need what we call IIoW, which is the Industrial Internet of Wisdom, and bringing people together, bringing the knowledge all together into one place is all an important part of it. And we, have things like interweb views, which is one way of intercommunicating. We have the detailed forecasting of the markets and a 4-lane knowledge bridge to the end users. But all these things are part of the interconnection that is needed. And then the final thing would be that we have organized on a beta site this Berkshire Hathaway Energy Supplier and Utility Connect, where we're trying to connect all the individuals and all the plants, all the 200 plants within Berkshire Hathaway, in terms of the valves and the filters and all the decisions that they have to make. And by aggregating all this in one databases and one set of decision systems, we're encouraging Berkshire Hathaway to move to global sourcing. And more importantly, once you go to global sourcing, you can go to total a better evaluation of total cost of ownership. And if you're evaluating, let's say, if it's Intel and you're evaluating filters for all your different plants, you can spend a lot of time evaluating filters. If you're running, 13 clean rooms like Berenson is, an IIoT system allows you to look at all the filters and all the plants in one with one set of eyes and make your decisions on that basis. GE is very big on all this, and they use, for example, that on gas turbines, they can make a lot better decisions based on tracking what's going on in 40,000 different gas turbines around the world, and they can make better decisions than the individual operator who doesn't have that advantage. So thank you very much for participating today. This will be, the recording will be posted, so you'll have access to it, and we would welcome any questions. This is Bob Mcilvaine signing off for today.